Oh, hello, this is Tak Chung from Walk with Tak. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share. Over the years, I have learned a great deal about stir frying, and I'm still continue to learn. And the reason is that stir frying is a complex process. It depends on many factors. It depends on how much heat that you apply during the stir frying process. It depends on what kind of oil that you use for stir frying, as well as the wok that you choose to stir fry in. And because of the flexibility as well as the versatility of the stir frying technique, each person has their own approach to stir frying. In many ways, there is no what one call the best practices for stir frying. For example, stir frying for me is quite different from stir frying from another person, and the type of environment that I have in my stir frying situation is very different from someone else. For example, in my case, my stir frying takes place on top of a glass top electric stove, and I use a stainless steel wok, and I stir fry under a exhaust fume hood. However, this approach might not work for another person who might stir fry on a gas stove. And the person might use an entirely different wok, such as a wok with non-stick coating. Or that person is stir frying in an apartment that do not have a exhaust fume hood. So if I have him apply the method that I use in stir frying, it is not going to work. In fact, this is exactly what happened. I have one person come to my class, and he learned about stir frying based on how I explained it to the class. And he went home and tried the method. He quickly gave up. About a month later, I ran into him. I said to him, "Do you still stir frying?" He said, "Not anymore, because every time I stir fry, I set off the fire alarm, and my wife now prohibit me from stir frying in our kitchen." And therefore, when people ask me what is the best approach in stir frying in their situations, quite often I am not able to provide them with a good recommendation because each situation could be very different. And to establish the conditions for the most effective stir frying in those situations require an understanding of the various principles that make stir frying versatile, as well as make stir frying practical to fit different kitchen situations. In this video, I'm going to talk about the most important factor in stir frying. This is also why stir frying is so versatile. It's simply because stir frying can adjust to different levels of heat. In other words, depending on the amount of heat that you apply, it affects greatly of how you stir fry. And this is important in determining the best approach based on the amount of heat that you can create in your kitchen stove. There's no other cooking techniques where the heat can accelerate the cooking process in an extraordinary way. Here demonstrate that how you can stir fry under high heat. The only difference between high heat and low heat in this particular situation is that high heat will allow you to cook the food much faster, sometimes 5 to 6 times faster than you will cook under low heat. A professional chef have learned from this property, allow them to cook a dish very, very quickly in less than sometimes 2 or 3 minutes. And using this approach, they can greatly facilitate the flow of what is being done in the kitchen. Under high heat, not only the dish can be cooked very quickly, and in a professional hand, it will also allow one to generate special flavor for the dish, sometimes known as wok chi. Not that it cannot be achieved under low heat, but it is more difficult. When I was a college student, I cooked in a Chinese restaurant for about 6 weeks. And during this period, I really appreciate the power of cooking under high heat. As long as I know how to stir the ingredient rapidly to prevent the food from getting burnt, it's certainly a lot of fun, and it is wonderful to see how food just cook right in front of your eyes, and usually within 1 or 2 minutes, your dish is done. However, cook under high heat has its own problem. First of all is that you must stir the food very rapidly. And there's 2 ways to stir the food rapidly. One is with a wok spatula, and the other way is simply toss the food. However, in the hands of amateur, situation like this could very easily get out of control, and this resulting in the food of getting burned. Cooking under high heat also raised another problem, that is generate oil film, which is a breakdown product when the oil is heated beyond its smoking point. Inhaling excess amount of oil film is damaging. It can lead to damage to the respiratory system, and also can lead to lung cancer. In a study in Taiwan, they found women who stir-fried without a fume hood, there a slight increase in the incidence of lung cancer, whereas women who stir-fry under an exhaust fume hood, such increase is not found. So based on this discussion, it is reasonable to conclude that if you want to generate as little oil film as possible, you should cook under low heat. However, as we have discussed earlier, if you cook under low heat, you sacrifice the speed. It will take longer for you to cook. And secondly is that it might not be as flavorful because under low heat you cannot sear the food ingredients, particularly in the case of meat and seafood, where searing greatly improves their flavor. And I think most people will agree, for stir frying, a high heat is better than low heat, at least in a general sense. And consequently, I have many people will tell me that I don't do stir fry because I do not have a stove that can provide the high heat that's required for stir frying, and or I just don't like to have the oil film to fill my living room and kitchen. And this actually has been generally cited that why stir frying is not that popular in the United States. And people just do not want to have that kind of mess in the kitchen, as well as to be fearful of the potential harm of the oil film that will do to their family. However, this is quite often my friend Jason said to me, we should not avoid stir frying because of the high heat. We must find another way to do this because we cannot let the perfect be the enemy of good. So forget about what you see on YouTube, as well as what you read, that stir frying has to be carried out in high heat. In fact, you can use low heat to create an equally great tasting dish by stir frying under low heat. It might take a little bit longer and require some special techniques, but it is completely doable. In future video, I'm going to show you the equipment as well as the technique that will allow you to stir fry under low heat that create least amount or no oil film at all, but still you're able to cook food with great taste and flavor. I post a video each day to help you to make home cooking practical, efficient, creative, and fun using my fast cooking system so that you can cook every day. So keep on cooking. I will see you tomorrow.